All right, we're back for a second part to this short introduction to Hinduism, and we're about to take a look at three different paths of Hinduism, or I might say three different tendencies of Hinduism. Now, the first path is the path of ritual action. It's the first in the sense that it's the oldest. It goes all the way back to the Aryan civilization. Remember, I said 18th century before Common Era. It's a long, long time. 18th century BCE. So this path is the oldest, and it comes all the way back to the beginning of Hinduism. Now, the mode of practice, like how Hindus in this orientation practice Hinduism, is they strive to do enough of the right stuff. I'm speaking kind of loosely here, but I just want to connect with you and like this. So in this path, the goal is to just do enough of the right stuff. The goal of the path is, if you do enough of the right stuff, to be reincarnated into a higher caste. And you'll read more in your book about caste. It's an interesting, very interesting thing. We'll talk more about it after I introduce this concept of reincarnation, because there's two parts to this sentence. The goal of the path is to be reincarnated into a higher caste. So what is reincarnation? And I think most people have a sense, and already a pre-understanding about this. Reincarnation literally means to take on flesh again, rebirth. And this is a central aspect of Hinduism as well as other world religions. But reincarnation is to take flesh again, or rebirth, and caste describes levels of society. They're determined by actions from previous lives, according to Hindus. Caste regulates jobs, marriage, social mobility, social relations, economic status, economic level, and so on. There are four levels, four castes in society, and here they are in order of hierarchy. And there are actually subcategories of all of these. Quite a few subcategories. Brahmins, the highest caste. The warriors, which is the second highest. The merchants, and then the lowest class is the servants. There's actually one below this, but they don't consider it a class or a caste. They're actually considered outcasts or untouchables, and those are considered the lowest level of human being. So there's four, and then one sort of doesn't even get included. Every one of these castes has about 700 to 800 subcastes. So in a single lifetime, if you're born into the warrior class, for example, you might do the best you can, do all the right things, do enough of the right things. You might move up the ladder. When you're reincarnated and born again, you might move up. But look, you've got 800 subcastes to get through. It's not going to be like all of a sudden you're in the Brahmin caste. So from lifetime to lifetime, the thought is people stay within the same caste, and only after a lot more time do people move from, for example, servant to merchant, merchant to warrior, warrior to Brahmin. For those in lower castes, now they did, according to Hindus, they did something in their former life that made them part of the caste that they're in. And actually, I should say that's true of all the castes. But if you're in the lower caste, you did something you shouldn't have, or you didn't do enough of the right stuff. Well, caste law was made illegal in the 1940s. I mean, you can see that there'd be a little bit of problems with this. It has a way of maybe keeping people who don't have much advantage in life down, and it kind of gives a way of explaining, how a group of people who are mistreated can be how it could kind of justify the mistreatment. Well, they deserve to be in the situation they are in life, so therefore there's no hard feelings if they're treated poorly. That said, the concept of caste, even though it's made illegal, is still followed in India, and it's especially in rural India. There's still a spiritual significance to it. It's still tied to the religion. Just be aware of that, though. Atman means soul. Atman means soul. The Atman is what's reincarnated when one body dies and the next body reemerges. The Atman survives. It's what's reincarnated. The part of any person that lives on. And now dharma. This word comes up in different religions. Dharma means duty or obligations. Some dharma is based on caste. So depending on the caste you're in, you have different obligations. Some dharma is based on gender. Women have different dharma than men, for example, on this path of Hinduism. So if someone does enough of the right stuff, it accumulates into karma. Karma, and people use this term and sort of, you might have some idea what it means already. Karma is the belief that good or bad comes back to you. So whatever you do now, if it's good or bad, that's all going to come back to you. If you do good, good will come back to you. If you do bad, bad will come back to you. That's the basic of it. If more good karma than bad attaches to your Atman, the thing that passes on when your body dies, then you'll be reincarnated into a higher caste or a subcaste. Another term you need to be aware of is samsara, and that's the continuous cycle of rebirth. In Hinduism, we cannot escape the continual endless cycle of rebirth. The text states that this first path most closely follows, or the text that this first path most closely follows is the Vedas, and that is the oldest Hindu text. But like I said, other paths in Hinduism don't put the same emphasis on this text, for example. Okay, two more. The second path is the path of knowledge. And this path is all about knowing enough of the right stuff. Not necessarily doing it, just knowing about it. If you can know enough of the right stuff, then you can escape samsara. Yoga is one of the methods of this path. Now, this is another thing, like, let's get rid of your preconceptions of yoga here. Now we have a certain view of what yoga is because it's become so popular in the United States and elsewhere in the world. But yoga here is something different, something, related but different. So open your mind to hearing about something different than what you know here. Yoga is one of the methods of this path, and it's a series of physical and mental and spiritual exercises through which one comes to know what's really true. It's a method for attaining knowledge. Now, I don't know how many people who go to yoga class there in wherever you're at right now, your nearest yoga studio or whatever. How many people say when they go to yoga class that they're going to class to come to know what's really true? A method for attaining knowledge. Maybe some, but my guess is not most. Maya is M-A-Y-A. Maya is what's physical and tangible. But it's not what's real. It's only an illusion. So what's physical and tangible is not real. It's an illusion. The most real thing is the divine. Here comes this term called Brahman. B-R-A-H-M-A-N. It is the indefinable, but it's the truest reality. The reality that permeates all of life and that all of life permeates. The text for this orientation is the Upanishads. This is a group of philosophical texts. In this text, it states that the Brahman is that by which you see, but you cannot see it. It propels things, but it is never attained or defined. It's a pervasive reality. If you can know the Brahman, then you can escape samsara. Then your Atman is related or unified with the Brahman. Okay, so just second path, know enough of the right stuff. Third path, the path of devotion. This emerged in the 2nd century BCE. The path maintains that if you're devoted enough to God in this lifetime, then when you die, you don't have to be reborn, but you can go to heaven for eternity. The Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are three. Brahma, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are three of the main deities that people develop their devotion toward. And this is where Hinduism can somewhat look like a monotheism, because there's some groups within Hinduism that it looks like all they worship is, for example, Vishnu. Brahma creates, Vishnu sustains, and Shiva destroys. This text uses, or the text that this path uses is called the Bhagavad Gita. It's a short story within a larger epic story, and there are two main characters, and you'll read about them in your book. And I think right here would be a good place to stop. So this should just give you a brief overview of what Hinduism is, give you a little bit more of a context before you dive in and research for yourself.